Want to take a little ride on a scooter? Of course you do. We're at the entrance of the Vulture mine, which is southwest of Wickenburg, Arizona. It's on a nice road that sort of leads from Wickenburg to more or less nowhere. It actually intersects with another highway several miles down. It's a nice road. It's not very well traveled. It's a very pleasant road to have a good ride on. The GoPro camera that I'm using is mounted to the top of my helmet. So from this view, you can imagine that you're sitting on the passenger seat and looking over the top of my helmet at the surrounding scenery. We're on a Honda Forza 300 scooter. This is a two-passenger scooter, which gets about mid-60 miles per gallon and cruises nicely in the 40 to 60 mile an hour range. Top speed is probably a little over 70 miles an hour. The road is fast, dry, and this is a really pleasant day in February. The sun's out and the temperature is in the low 70s, so that the wind chill is not a factor at all. We're at approximately 2,000 foot elevation. The vegetation here will be a little bit more and a little bit varied than you might see down closer to sea level in the valley areas of Arizona, and different in other respects from that you might see further up in higher elevations in the mountains along the tree lines. About the only tall plants that you see here are what you might recognize from Taco Time commercials. This is the saguaro cactus. It grows with a single stem with one to several upraised arms, and it can take up to 50 years just to grow one arm. So some of these plants may be quite old. They don't have a deep root system. They do store up water during the wet portions of the year to last them through the summer to the hot areas. I like this road because it has very, very little traffic on it, and if anybody is behind you and wants to come along and pass, they can pass very easily. From time to time, you might see little dirt roads or trails extending off the side of this highway. This area is very, very popular with ATVers. You can go out and roam the desert to your heart's content here. Some of these trails also might lead to old mining claims, abandoned mines, or whatever. Ranchers often own land on either side of the road. Often the land is owned before the road ever went through, so that they've always let their cattle wander back and forth on the land across the road. To keep them from wandering down the road and off their property, they will often have metal grates called cattle guards placed on the road itself. These are a series of metal pipes with spaces in between that cattle will not walk on. We'll also be going down some shallow dips. You won't notice these except as we might pass one of the yellow warning road signs saying that they seem to be careful of them in wet weather. If there are rainstorms around of any significant size, these dry dips in the road can become actual wet washes with water, rocks, mud, dirt, and debris just streaming down in a torrent. It doesn't last very long, so most of them, here's one now, but they're sort of unbridged areas because it really isn't worth the time, trouble, and money trying to build the bridges. across all these little areas since they drain off very fast. We also might pass, there's a fellow just went past the trike. We also might pass a truck. The people here tend to like the big diesel trucks in the, like the Ford 350 category, or heavy-duty Ram trucks, pulling trailers that can carry anywhere from 1 to 6 horses. This area is a very popular winter spot for professional rodeo riders who stay here and can practice in the arenas with stock provided by local ranchers. There are still prospectors out in this area. They'll go out with their equipment and we'll see what they can get. It might just be a little bit in a pan that they have to pick out with tweezers, but the gold bug is the gold bug, and God bless them for it. If you wander out along the side into the desert, you probably will come across some of the local creatures. Very seldom are they seen actually on the road itself. But rarely you might see a roadrunner just pop out of the bush and run alongside you for a short distance and then pop back into the bush. I've seen that once since I've been here on this trip. You can watch the cattle guard. There's not much trouble going over them. You get a little jounce from it. Here it comes. And that was it. We're getting close to civilization now. There'll be a large fancy resort golf course complex off to the right. We're getting towards the end of the ride here. This is the part that I've recorded. So that's good. It's been good having you. See you on the next one.